thank you very much for joining us. As you're aware, we've had a number of questions recently with Swindon supporters looking for answers to a number of topics, which we have split into 5 different areas: football, outside influences, running costs, communication and ticket prices. But to begin with, why have you chosen to conduct this interview, and what have you been doing in your period since your last interview?
Thanks, Henry. Morning. The reason why I've done this interview, because obviously a lot of people have been asking where Clem is and what I've been doing. I've been running the football club at the end of the day. I've been working really hard behind the scenes with Anthony, the Supporters Trust, the Supporters Club, and done a lot of things behind the scenes. Probably not as visual as I like to be, but obviously I've been running my business back home in Australia and New Zealand and New York. And it's been difficult times back there after COVID and cost of living, as everybody knows. So that's what I've been doing.
If we look now into the 5 topics, as previously mentioned, we'll go with the football side of the football club. So, now question 1, what are your views on the season's performance so far?
Obviously, the season's performance so far I'm not happy with it at the moment. That's why we made the change. So therefore, we wanted to change it up. Obviously, we got the window period. Want to make sure that we strengthen the squad. So I'm not that happy at the moment.
Given the high turnover of managers in recent years and the mixed results, what have you learned, and what's your long-term vision for the football side of the club?
Football's fickle. You've got your highs and you've got your lows. At the moment, I think we're a bit of a low, but I think we can turn it around. Obviously, we changed the manager. Obviously, look, Michael Flynn's a really good guy, and I wanted to make sure that what's best for the football club. And the football club is the most important thing, like I've said before. But it's a results business, so if you don't get the results, then there's consequences.
With this in mind, why did you offer full manager Michael Flynn an extended contract so early into his tenure?
Well, we were flying at the beginning, and obviously there was a couple of clubs that were after him, so we wanted to make sure that didn't happen like the last manager that we had. So we extended his contract, therefore that's why we did it.
Gavin Gunning was, of course, appointed as interim head coach following this decision. Why was he the right choice to replace Michael Flynn?
Well, Gav's been in the club. I know him personally. He's come to Australia. So, he understands coaching. He's got a good rapport with the players. And he's a good guy. I think he'll do really well. He's interim till the end of the season. We'll see how that goes.
With the recent poor run of results and the high number of injuries, what measures are you taking to address the squad's lack of depth and improve its resilience?
Well, obviously we've signed some more players. We signed a couple of players yesterday. I believe that will be announced today. So, and S&C department we need to strengthen as well. We're strengthening the players. So, obviously that's what we're trying to do at the moment. Sitting down with Gav and Jamie Russell. So, yeah, I think we'll go quite well now. But look, football's fickle. You don't know, and it's a results business, like I said, and we're trying to get the results up there.
How satisfied have you been with the present group of players, and how do you think the transfer window's gone so far?
Look, I'm happy with the present players that we got. I think we need a bit of strengthening. Obviously, in the defence, we're trying to strengthen that. But I'm really happy with all the players. The players are good. They've got a good rapport. We had breakfast with them yesterday morning with Gav and all the squad. So I think, look, they're good, but we need a bit more depth, and that's what we've done. I think the transfer window period's gone pretty well. We've signed a couple of more players. We've signed 3 players, and then we've signed a couple of 2 today. So look, I think we're going pretty well, but we've still got 54 points to play for. And we need to make a good run for it to the end of the season, and that's what we're trying to do.
Loans have been a key part of the team's success this season, but they are also temporary. So what is the club's strategy for building a sustainable squad that can compete in the long term?
Obviously, we're going to use loans, and we're going to try to get permanents for our squad. But look, we need to build the squad, and we need to build the right foundation. That's from everything in regards to the football club, and that's off the pitch and on the pitch. So we're trying to build the foundations correct. So it's all about foundations, and especially when I took over, it wasn't in a great state, the club.
What role do you see for young players in this team's future, and how do you balance their development with the need for immediate results as well?
Well, that's probably up to Gav Garning and Jamie Russell to answer. But academies are quite important for us. Listen, we've got an international academy we're trying to set up at the moment. We've got a good academy. Obviously, our under 18s won last night, beat Man United 2-0, which was a fabulous result for us and for the town, and just things to come. What Jamie Russell and Alex Pike have done for the academy is unbelievable. What we had 3 years ago, we didn't even have an academy roughly, but what he's done now is unbelievable, beating Man United, and we're obviously playing Sunderland or Gillingham in the next round. So hopefully they'll keep going. The boys dug in and they really worked really hard, but academies are so important, especially for the town.
What is the 1 year, 3 year and 5 year strategy on the field?
Well, it's always obviously promotion, but listen, we need to make sure that our foundations are right with the squad, building up, putting younger players, putting senior players as well. If we can do that, then we can build the squad. So we're building that squad. Obviously, we're trying to get promotion, but football's fickle, so I can't. Look, we've got a plan. But if I say that, I'll probably get slated if we don't hit that plan. But obviously we want to go as high as we can to the Premier League if we can. But it's a long way, it's a long journey, and it's hard work, and it's not going to be easy. And throwing a bucket load of money at a team doesn't mean that you're going to get instant success. And we've seen that with other clubs, and we're not going to do that. And clubs have done it before and put them into administration, which we don't want to do.
Obviously going slightly away here, but how satisfied are you with the performance of the women's team as well?
The women's team has done awesome. Mandy Coe, what she's done with the women's team has been unbelievable. She's done a great job. And when we took over the women's team, they had no kit, they had no nothing. So we brought them into the family, so we speak, and they've done a great job. Look, they're coming third, and they're doing a great job. So for me, I think women's have done really well. We're supporting them, town's supporting them, and I just want all the supporters to support them as well. So, yeah, Mandy Coe's done an awesome job, and I thank her a lot.
Just finally, on the football side, what are your hopes for the rest of the season?
Hopefully playoffs. That's what we're pushing for. But look, time will tell. We're going to take one match at a time. Look, we're building up the squad. I'm giving support to Gav and his team. Look, I talk to him daily. I speak to Anthony. We speak to him daily. I don't think people realise how much hard work I do, regardless if I'm on the other side of the world. I speak to him two or three times a day. I'm up at 5 a.m. and finish at 10, 11 o'clock at night, which I don't think people realise that.
Move on to our second topic, which is, of course, outside influences. So, starting with question 1, can you explain the circumstances surrounding the sale of the shares to Holly Kiley and Bethany Palio-Diorio? And can you assure that these shareholder arrangements have no influence on club decisions?
The reason why I sold the shares is because I had to come up with £2.95 million regarding a debenture. Now, we had 3 days to actually come up with the money. Obviously, I had half the money, and the other half I borrowed from Holly and Bethleen. But for me, look, we had 3 days to come up with the money, or the club was going to go into admin. I never created this. I apologise that I never told the fans, and I didn't tell the EFL. We were advised that we didn't have to, but obviously we was wrong, and I apologise for that. And I've said that before. Look, am I going to get everything right? No, but and we learn from our mistakes. So we've got to make sure that doesn't happen again. Do they have any influences? No. I'll tell you that now. No one has any influence except for me and Anthony and Jamie and Gav. They're the 4 people that run this club. Yes, I've got external shareholders, but with 2 of them, but they've got no... we're trying to buy them shares back now, which I'm trying to sort that out now.
of course, with that, as mentioned, is there any intention to buy back shares that were sold to address urgent financial needs? And if so, can we have a target date?
Yeah, look, we're buying the shares back now. We're trying to buy them back, but obviously, look, I can't give you an exact date because the legals change every 5 minutes. So I'm trying to push for that at the moment. But look, I've got other things that are pending as well. Obviously budgets, and the club still loses money, so we're trying to balance all the books at the end of the day.
Considering the leaks and speculation about potential buyers, can you elaborate on the club's stance regarding these inquiries and your commitment to building foundations for the long term as well?
Well, everyone keeps saying that I've sold the club or they want to buy the club. Look, the club's not up for sale. But if someone came here and said, look, they've got the money and they can make it better than what I can do it, then I'd look at it. Look, I'm a businessman. I will always look at offers that are interested. But push that aside. I'm trying to build a proper foundation for the club. The club has been run really poorly in the last 20 years or 30. And when I came in, look, there was £4.5 million worth of debt, £2.95 million worth of debentures, and the previous owners sold £9 million worth of players, which, when you come to it, there was £15 million which he made. But look, we're still trying to clean up the mess that's been left for the last 3 years. There's still 3 or 4 legal issues that we've got, but we advise our supporters group. Obviously, we have an advisory board meeting every month, and I've been to them 27 times, regardless if I'm in Australia or not. But and we monitor that every month, so people can read what we're actually doing. To say that I haven't spoken to the Supporters Trust or the Supporter Club, look, I've been talking to them quite regularly. We have JV meetings for the actual ground. And we've been speaking to the official supporters club as well. So, obviously I haven't done any media conference, but I don't really like doing them. I like just getting on and doing what I need to do and run the club. It's a bit like my business. I'm not on social media. I just do what I need to do to get things done.
What have you learned from the shares experience, and what steps are you taking to build back trust with the supporter base?
I need to make sure that I advise the EFL and advise the supporters that I don't do that again. Look, I'm human. I make mistakes, and I'm going to make mistakes. And to say people that I'm perfect, I'm not perfect at all. But I just look. It comes down to time and building back that trust, and just keep building and being open to and communicate a lot better than what I've done. But I think our communications, we need to get a little bit better, but I think, look, we're improving. We're working on it really hard. Our staff, everyone at the club is working really hard, from media to retail to academy to the players to commercial. Look, I think everybody. Look, everyone's done a great. Like they're working really hard. I don't think people realise how hard they work here, and we're busting our ass just to make sure that we get things done. So, and it is hard running a football club. It's not easy. It's not easy, and it does lose money. I'll tell you that now. It loses money every year. So,
final question on this topic. Given your commitment to the long-term future of the club, what steps are being taken to communicate the future vision of the club to supporters?
Well, obviously we have our advisory board meeting once a month. I think I need to probably do an interview once a month or every 2 months, and just tell the fans what we're doing and to communicate a bit better. I think our communication is key. Look, but both Supporters Trust and Supporters Club have got a direct link to me, so they can talk to me anytime they want. And they just ring me, so it's not. And that was our thing, to funnel our communications to, so they could communicate to the supporters. I have some supporters who are friends of mine that I talk to directly. They just ring me or WhatsApp me or text me or whatever, and I communicate to them. And it doesn't matter how busy I am, and I am quite busy. I have 800, 900 staff back home, and I do still have a business to run that funds the club. So I think people need to realise that. I don't think people realise that sometimes.
Moving on to our third topic, running costs. So we'll start with question 1. Given that you invested a significant amount of money in Swindon Town without the opportunity for due diligence, what were your motivations for doing so, and what were your initial impressions of the club's financial state?
Good question. My motivation was football. Obviously, I love football. I love playing football. I still play football, but my motivations to make this club successful. It was a hostile takeover, so I didn't have the opportunity to look at the books. I didn't realise how bad the books were until I started digging. I thought there was an £800,000 debt, but there was £4.5 million debt. There was a £2.95 million debenture. We had an EFL loan for COVID by £1 million that the previous owner took, which we're still paying back to the EFL, which is quite disturbing. And do I regret taking over the club? I don't regret taking over the club, and I'm thick-skinned and I'm quite strong personality to make things happen, and I'm up for the challenge. And I want this club to be successful. I want the supporters to be proud of what we're trying to achieve. Look, we've achieved so much in the last 3 years. We've got rid of most of the debt. We've bought the ground with the supporters groups, which is unbelievable, which we've done. We've got a women's team. The results aren't that great on the pitch, but look, we're trying to get there. We've changed it up. We're putting money back into the squad, and that's what we're trying to do. So it's important for us collectively to support the group and support the lads on the pitch. It's so important for us, and we need the fans to support us. Yes, I've made mistakes. Look, I'm human. Like I've said before, I'm not perfect, and I'd never portrayed to be perfect. But we're working really hard. Everyone here is working so hard to get things done and to make it right. But it's going to take time. You need to be patient with us because we're trying to make this better. This club has been, it was an absolute shambles. I've never seen anything like it. I just shook my head and thought, what the hell is all this? And it should never have happened. But listen, we are what we are. We need to make sure we get better. We've got to be better at things, and we need to be better in communication. We need to be better on the pitch. So it's about better communication. And look, some supporters will always criticise, which I get that. But look, people say, oh, he's lost interest. I haven't lost interest. I've been here since before Christmas. I've got a passion for the club. I've got a passion for football. I'm not going anywhere. And I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing for everybody, and everyone can be proud for Swindon Town.
As you mentioned there, your investment is obviously around the 8 million mark. So with that, you are now one of the largest investors in the club's history. You just touched on the challenges, but can you discuss them in a bit more detail on the challenges you faced in trying to turn around the club's finances and progress you've made so far?
Look, we're going through each department and trying to work out what costs we can take out and try to bring in more revenue. Look, I think the supporters. Look, the cost of living is too high, and I walk around Swindon Town, and I know it's hard out there for supporters, and we don't want to put any more burden on the supporters. That's the last thing we want to do. And football is their enjoyment, and the last thing we want is Swindon Town to put more pressure, more burden on families and supporters about coming to watch football. We want to make sure that they're right. Look, some of the sponsorship deals aren't favourable for the club, which we're reviewing, we're having a look at. But like I said, look, I love this club. We want everyone else to love this club. So we don't want everybody else to take from the club. We want everyone to feel like they're proud of it, and that's what we're trying to do. Look, we're always reviewing, we're always trying to be better.
You touched on it there, but of course Anthony's previously said that the running costs are 8.2 million, which is a big increase on figures shared previously. What factors have contributed to the increase in running costs over the last year?
Obviously, cost of living, everything's gone up. Obviously, we've got playing budgets, we've got staff. Obviously, overheads and stuff like that. So I think everything has gone up. I believe that last year's figures, we're getting the auditors to just make sure that they're correct. So we're just trying to check that up. But everything has gone up. We've had people check the books, so they could comment on what they saw. So I haven't, like I've said in my 11 statement, when I actually turned up, I think we've done 10 out of the 11 statements. We bought the ground. I haven't taken any money out of the club. Look, I come and stay at the hotels. I travel, never take it out of the club. It comes out of my own pocket. So get rid of the debt, like open communications, which we're doing. Like I said that we were going to do an advisory board meeting when we first walked in. I've been doing it ever since, and that was 2.5 years ago, and I haven't missed one. I've done teams, I've done them in person, and people can vouch for that. So look, I think we need to get better. Look, cost of living is hard. Everything has gone up, but we don't want to put any more pressure on the supporters, and we won't be. I'll tell you that now. And we've spoken to the supporters club and the supporters trust to make sure what we're going to do in regards to season tickets and match day tickets.
Of course, we'll get on to ticket prices shortly, but just finally on this, given the challenges you've faced, can you speak about the importance and patience from supporters and the importance of building a sustainable and successful club for the long term?
Yeah, look, it's really important for us to be sustainable. Look, previous owners, we had a previous owner that put a bucket load of money in and then put a debenture on and nearly went into administration, which we don't want to do. Look, people, some supporters aren't going to be happy that we're not putting millions and millions of pounds into a playing budget. But if we don't, this club needs to be sustainable, and that's my goal. And look, and to go up, and that's important for us. We need to be sustainable at all costs. Look, does it lose money? Yeah, it'll lose £1 million a year. I'll tell you that now. But we need to get it down where it's breaking even. And any money that we make, we put back into the playing budget. That's the most important thing for us. And see what other revenue streams we can. Look, obviously we bought the ground with the JV, so which is important for us, and we're looking at that. We had a JV meeting a couple of weeks ago. I think it was the 5th of January, where we had a JV meeting, and we're working on that as well to see what improvements we can do on the stadium and the development, and we're doing that. And we need other revenue streams. We play 90 minutes every 2 weeks. And we need to make sure this is a 24/7 facility that brings revenue into the club, and that's what we're trying to do. Look, some people say, but we need a proper football team. Look, we've got a proper football team, but it's going to take time. We want to go up as much as everybody else, but when we go up, we want to stay up. We don't want to go down, and that's important. And you can't build a house without the foundation. And it's like a football club, and it's like a business. And I've been running businesses. I started a business down in my bedroom 30 years ago, and I've got 900 employees in 5 countries. So I can't. I do have some. I might have never run a football club, but it's running a business. I run business and I run people. So I don't have a problem with it. Look, I don't have a problem with people slating me as well. That's just come part and parcel of the job. But we are working hard, and we're really busting our whatever. So we're busting our ass to make sure these things get done, and we're doing that.
I wanted to ask you about Fair Game. Of course, the club is signed up to Fair Game and committed to financial transparency. Can you provide more details on how you plan to implement this commitment and the specific measures you'll take to increase transparency?
Obviously, we've signed up to Fair Game. We want to be as open, transparent. So we signed up to Fair Game to make sure that I might put figures out and people might not believe me. The Supporters Trust can come and have a look at the books and they might not believe us. So this is an independent party where they can look at the books, they can have a look at what and they can comment on what's going on. All I've done is put money into this club. I haven't taken any money out. So. And that's why I don't have any issue showing the books. Look, do I have a problem with the telling about the playing budget? Yeah, I do, because we're in a competitive environment. The last thing I need, we've got 23 other teams out there that are looking for players and agents and stuff like that. And the last thing I need is people we need that competitive edge. And I'm not going to tell people our playing budget. But everything else I don't have a problem with because I've got nothing to hide.
Of course, mentioned it there, but are you planning to add further funds to balance books this year?
Well, I already have. I put 850,000 in the last 3 months, which we put that in the advisory board meeting. I have put more funds in. We have to, or the club, and that's to pay for wages and HMRC and suppliers, and that had to be done. If not, the people don't get paid. If people don't get paid, we lose points or we get sanctions and stuff like that. But yeah, I've already done that.
Touched on it earlier, but what is the up-to-date position with the recent EFL sanctions, and what have you learned from this experience?
Look, it's gone into an independent commission, I believe. But what we haven't heard from that, but I believe there'd be a fine. We've spoken to our lawyers. I just got to make sure I don't make the same mistake again, and if anything else changes, I need to notify the EFL and make sure it doesn't happen again. I just need to make sure that we're up to scratch with all the rules and regulations, and we just need to make sure that happens.
One topic I want to talk to you about is ground development. Where are we with the ground development?
We had a meeting with the JV on the 5th of February. 5th of January, sorry. So we've got a report that we need to do. I had a meeting yesterday about it. We're going to go through a report where we're going to make a master plan. Once we do the master plan, we're going to submit it to the JV so they're happy with it. They can bring it out to their members to make sure they're happy with it. It's going to be a staged process, obviously, so we don't have any disruptions to the ground and the games. So, look, I've got an idea, but I want to make sure that the JV and the supporters are happy with it. Once they're happy with it and they tick off, then we can go to planning and then we can go to finance and stuff like that, and then we can appoint a builder and stuff like that. Look, I'm in the building industry, so I understand it. I'll probably understand that better than some of the other things that I do.
You talked avoiding passing cost rises on to supporters. How does the club plan to maintain affordable ticket prices and other costs for fans while still meeting its financial obligations and reinvesting in the team?
Good question. Look, we sat down with the Supporters Trust and the Supporters Club in the advisory board meeting. We're looking at the ticket prices for season tickets and match day tickets. Look, we don't want to put any more pressure on the supporters, which we're not going to do. I believe it's hard enough as it is with the cost of living. So we just got to make sure that we don't pass the costs onto the supporters, but we're going to look at our commercial revenues and see what else we can bring in. So look, we need to simplify some of the season tickets because I think we've got too many categories. So we need to sort that out, which we're trying to do at the moment. And we're looking at it. So yeah, look, I can tell you the prices won't go up, but we're just reviewing it now.
Just finally, when do you believe the club will be able to stand on its feet financially?
Good question. Look, I think it'll still take us 2 or 3 years to be sustainable, that we're not losing any more money. But look, you don't know. You might sell a player. You might get a cup run. You might get promoted. You don't know. Look, it's so unpredictable. You're balancing them all the time. But look, we're trying really hard, and Anthony's doing a great job, and the whole team's doing a great job. So we just got to keep pushing through and look at what other revenue streams we can get.
Move on to our fourth topic, which is communication. So we'll start with question 1. As you've been less visible and engaged with the fans recently compared to the time of the takeover, can you explain your communication strategy and how you plan to maintain an open and transparent dialogue with the fans going forward?
Look, I've always been present. I've been doing advisory board meetings once a month and talking to the Supporters Trust and the Supporters Club. So it's not like the only thing I haven't done is doing interviews, which I don't really enjoy doing interviews. I'm not that sort of person who want to be out there. Look, when I first started, I was out there. I was trying to get interest into the club, which we did. But I think for me, I need to do probably a bit more interviews, but not like when I first started. I think it was too much, and I think people might have got sick of me, and I didn't know how to gauge it. So I think I went from one extreme to the other extreme, which I need to just balance it out and just make sure that we're open and communicated to all the supporters, and which I still believe we do. Look, I find it strange when people say, well, they can't get a hold of me. I have people messaging me all the time. I'm messaging them back. So it's not like I don't shy away from it. So regardless of what it is. So
Fans Forum's been postponed several times, which has caused frustration among some supporters. Can you provide an update on when these forums will be held and how fans can have their questions addressed?
Well, there's a fans forum on the 30th of January. I believe it's 7 o'clock. So I'll be there. Gav Gunning will be there. Jamie Russ will be there. Anthony will be there. So they can ask their questions. They can ask what they need to ask. So look, I believe we had one fans forum in August. I wasn't here, obviously. I was back in Australia. But for me, it's important. Look, they can ask their questions. But that's why we had the advisory board meetings. We wanted people to ask the questions through their supporter groups, so they could ask, so we can address it. And I'm not going to shy away from any questions that, look, like I've said before, we've made mistakes. Hopefully, we try not to make more mistakes, but that's what we're trying to do.
There have been concerns about the club's PR and communication, including errors in some communications and confusing commercial announcements. What steps are being taken to improve the quality and consistency of the club's communication with its supporters?
Just need to keep reviewing it. We just need to make sure our policies are a lot better. We just need to work our procedures before we communications. It's a work in progress. Everything's always a work in progress. We're always trying to improve better. And yes, we're going to make mistakes. And we're going to try to improve, and that's what we need to do.
One topic of conversation in terms of communication has been Anthony's appearance on the OSC. So what do you think of Anthony's appearance on that OSC interview, and was it beneficial? Has it done any damage?
Look, I think it was a hard look. It was hard for Anthony. I think it was a bit misinterpreted. I think he didn't mean what he meant to say. And I apologise, but it wasn't. It came out the wrong way. I think it was misinterpreted. We really need the supporters. The supporters are the backbone of this football club, and we really need them. Yes, look. Sometimes there's interviews that are good, and sometimes there's interviews that aren't that good. And look, we need our supporters, and it came out wrong, and it should never. I believe it was wrong. It probably wasn't in the right headspace to have that interview, but it is what it is, and we just got to keep moving forward.
Just finally on communication, as we talked about, being transparent and working with other supporter groups, what are your views of the OSC and the trust, and how important is that communication and link between the two of them?
I think it's very important. I think the supporters trust and the supporter clubs they need to communicate together and with us as well. I know when I first joined. When I came into the Swindon town about 10 years ago, the Swindon Supporters Trust and the Supporters Club weren't talking to each other. Look, we got them together, and look, it's important for them to be there and us to be there and be. Look, I don't have a problem being accountable. That's not a problem. Look, I've got unions back home, and they're a lot stronger than the people over here, and it's good. We've got a really good working relationship with the unions, and we've got a good working relationship with the supporters shop and the supporters club, and we need to make sure that we still have that. It's important for us that they can communicate with their supporters group, but we're here to support the supporters. We need them strong as much as the club being strong.
Moving on to our fifth and final topic, which is ticket prices. We'll start with question 1. The club has enjoyed high season ticket sales in recent years. Do you accept that they expect better results given the gate size, and also the recent comment about 9 games free has caused a lot of frustration among season ticket holders? Can you clarify what this statement meant?
Look, we have enjoyed high season ticket sales, but we need our supporters to support this club. Do we believe that they should be happier with better results. Yeah, I believe that. But what we're stating is we're not going to put any prices up anymore for the season tickets. We don't want to do that. Like I've said before, it's hard enough as it is for supporters with the cost of living. So that will stay firm. Match day tickets, I believe they're too high, so we're reviewing that as well. So we need to address that. We don't want to put pressure on the supporters. The supporters is what we need. Our supporters is our key. And like I've said to people, without the supporters, there's no club, and that's what we're after.
Just a final reflection on that 9 games 3 comment. Of course, we're aware it's caused a lot of frustration among season ticket holders. So, just to clarify, it's not something against the season ticket holders. It's just to work with them and see how we can improve going forwards.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with it. That was the deal that we did previously. That was from deal 1. But when you work it, if you work out the £27 over 23 games, you work out the numbers. But it's got nothing to do with the fans at all. That I think it came out wrong. It had nothing to do with, if you work out the numbers of 27 games, or £27 per game over 23 games, you work it out to be, I don't know, 400, and that's what he meant. It had nothing to do with the supporters. I'll tell you that now. It was wrong, came out wrong, and it should never. It just came out wrong. So, but we don't want to put any pressure on the supporters. Like I've said, cost of living is high enough as it is. And match day tickets are high as well, so we're reviewing that. We want our supporters to support this club. It's the most important thing, and we rely on our supporters. And look, like I've said, we might make mistakes, and we apologise for that. But we don't. We need you guys as much as they need us. So it's important for us.
Next question. Given the current economic situation, many fans are concerned about the affordability of match tickets, especially for walk-up sales. Can you explain how the club arrived at its pricing strategy and whether there are any plans to adjust prices to reflect the economic climate?
Wasn't it the same question? Look, we worked out the numbers with the support, the advisory board. Like every time we go and put a price rise in regards to last season tickets, we sat down with the Supporters Trust and Supporters Club to work out what the numbers were. Obviously, the season, look, cost of living's too high. Look, families out there are struggling a lot, and we don't want that to affect them coming to football. Football's an enjoyment. They want to come to it. It's a release. It's for their mental health. It's really important for the community to have a sustainable football club and to be able to watch football that's not going to cost them an arm and a leg, and we don't want that. So, yeah, we're reviewing that. We've already discussed it in the advisory board meeting, and they won't go up. I'll tell you that now. There'll be an announcement later on, so I don't want to bust anyone's thunder or anything like that. So I just want to make sure that like I said, it came out wrong. Anthony's comment and never meant that.
How much have recent events, both on and off the field, impacted on planned take-up for next season?
Look, depends where we sit in the league next at the end of the season. We're just trying to work out where we sit. Look, financially, it is what it is. We're working out the cash flows, working out the next year's plan, working out the team, working out who's in and out. But look, let's not look at next season. We've got next season as well, but we want to finish strong in this season. There's still 54 points to play for, and look, there's always a chance. While there's will and strength and hard work, there's always a chance to get to the playoffs. But we're only 8 points from the playoffs, but we just need to make sure that we get there.
And just finally, I wanted to talk to you about the recent inconvenient pre-turnstile ticket checks. Could you just explain that decision a bit more and how that affects supporters?
Well, the problem is that we've got some supporters that actually buy kids' tickets and go in when they're adults and they're coming in at kids' tickets. That's why they've been checked. So, look, we apologise if it's inconvenient for some people, but it's not fair for the other supporters if they're paying 25 or 27 quid or whatever it is. They're paying 27 quid to come in as an adult and some adults are coming in with child prices, so that's the reason why, and we need to stop it. We can't have people taking money from the club when it's not fair for the other supporters.
Just to finalise on that, of course, it's not to sort of make things difficult for supporters, it's just to sort of make sure the club's financially sustainable and it's equal all round for supporters and the football club as well.
Absolutely, and that's what it's about. It's got nothing to do with making the supporters any inconvenience or anything like that, so that's why.
Just to summarise, thank you for your time today, Clem. And as we wrap this interview up, I just wanted to finally ask you, are you still 100% committed to retaining ownership of this club? And what's your final message to Swindon supporters going forwards?
Yes, I'm 100% committed to running this club and making this club a lot better. And I just want to thank the supporters for their support. Look, it hasn't been a pleasant time at the moment due to our position in the table, and I want to turn it around. And I want to thank everybody for their support. But just hang in there, be patient. Look, we're working with yous. We're working really hard behind the scenes, and support the Gavin and the boys, and let's bring it strong home to the end of the season.